What's up, Bakugan fans? It's D Hart. I have all the HAOS Pegatrix Bakugan from the Bakugan reboot, year 1 to year 4. I'm going to check out all of these Pegatrix and see which ones are the strongest, which ones you should pick up and collect when playing the Bakugan Pro trading card game. So let's jump into it. All right, first Pegatrix up, we have Battle Planet Pegatrix from year 1, the first Pegatrix that we saw. This is the core version of him. He has 2 green fists, 500 B and 2 damage, and he gets 200 more B and 2 damage if he lands on another green fist, or the first green fist. So that looks like this friendly Pegatrix is going to get up to, drop the toy, pick up the card, 805 plus 2 is 7, 807. Year 1, that might have been really cool, 807. Or 856, but nowadays it's not good. So he is on the low end of the spectrum as the least strong or the weakest Pegatrix that we have so far in the game, potentially. This is going to be a loose list because it can be tricky to grade all of this, but here are his evolutions, his evos. So looking at some of these, let's find out if it makes him that much better and worth it or not. The first Evo that I have here is Titan Pegatrix. It's a super rare card. 4 energy, you get 500 more B, plus 300 more for the bonus. So that's like 4 energy for 800 more B, and 2 plus 3, 5 more damage. So, actually I wrote this on the back, what am I doing? 4 energy for 805, that is a good ratio. That's 1 energy for 200 B and 1 energy for 1.2 something damage. So it's actually a good ratio. It's valuable. It's a good value trade. I like the Evo. It's cool and it would be fun to use still. Then we have this special Titan Pegatrix Evo that came with a reprint of this toy in Five Below stores. So if I'm not mistaken, which I very well could be, so correct me if I'm wrong, I'm doing this based off of the pictures here. The picture in the Evo is the same as this Pegatrix. This Evo belongs to this Pegatrix, even though I think the toy that came with this Pegatrix was not this mold, it was like a year 2 mold. I can't even remember anymore. But if this is true, this Titan Pegatrix could belong to year 1 Battle Planet Pegatrix. So for 5 energy, you get 500 more B and 5 damage. So 5 energy for 505 is, it would be good for a gear. If it was a gear, that would be amazing. And I guess Evos are just like gears. So this is amazing. It could be really good. It's a good, valuable trade for this type of card. And if you have 3 or more Baku cords attached to it, to this Pegatrix, it is free. And I shouldn't say 3 or more Baku cords attached to this Pegatrix. That's completely wrong. What I mean is 3 or more Baku cords attached to all of your Bakugan, everybody. So if you roll this Pegatrix 3rd, and you have this Evo in your hand, you can play it for free. You get a free 500 B and 5 damage. That is awesome. So this is a fun Evo and a fun one to play for the HAOS faction, and the strategies included. And then lastly, Diamond Pegatrix. This was still a year 1 Evo. You could pay 6 energy for another 700 B and 4 damage. So what did I put back here? 6 for 704. It's like 1 energy for 100 and something B. It's not the best value trade. These guys were better. So this Diamond Evo is probably the worst of the 3. I'd say, this one would be awesome to play for free. So there you go. That's a complete analysis of year 1 Battle Planet Pegatrix, who is tentatively or loosely the weakest Pegatrix Bakugan in the family. So let's move on to number 2. And surprisingly, you're laughing at this right now, it's Pegatrix Ultra from Armored Elite. His base card, even though this is an epic character card and it has a really cool Victor effect, his base card is only getting to 900 B. That's not strong, that stinks. 901 damage is really bad. If you have no other plans to use evolutions with this Bakugan, he wouldn't be worth it. But if you get a Victor, if you win the battle, you get to add another core from the field, which at that point you would get a damage core just to do more damage, I would think, or take a B power core, like a magic shield from your opponent's side. But I won't waste time on this because we're not using Pegatrix Ultra for the character card. We're using it for his Maximus Pegatrix Ultra Evo, which is so cool. Everybody knows about this. It's been around for a long time. 6 energy for another 600 B and 6 damage. But we don't even care about the ratios here because Maximus Pegatrix Ultra has this effect down here. When this opens, attach all Baku cores on opposing Bakugan to this. This is the most massive core steal. Maybe not nowadays with Nanogon and all the kind of stuff that's going on, but this is a massive core steal. If you evolve Maximus into Maximus Pegatrix Ultra, when you open him, all of your opponent's cores go onto him. His B power would get insane, his damage can get insane. This is a really fun guy to play with. Terrible to play against, so that's why we're using Pegatrix Ultra from Armored Elite Year 2. The other Evo, which this might be the strongest Evo. I think it is for sure the strongest Evo. The other Evo that comes with Diamond Pegatrix Ultra from Year 2 was, well, it was Diamond Pegatrix Ultra. 500B to 1700B is like 9 energy for 1200B and 11 damage. The value and the trade is good. Again, if it was a gear, this would be a really good gear, even though it costs 9 energy. So the fact that it costs 9 energy is almost impossible to get him to be played in the game. It's really expensive. It's tough to get up to 9 anyways. So you might not even use it because it's so expensive. But just knowing that the value is there and it's good and better than what a typical Baku gear is, that's an option, but probably not one you would use if you have Maximus Pegatrix Ultra. So second to worst HAOS Pegatrix if we're not using the Evo. If we're using the Evo, he's probably the best. And here are the versions of the toy, the diamond and the regular. Fully extended feet, wings, everything. Horns, so this is a really cool mold. I like this one. Third weakest on this loose list so far is Pegatrix Ultra from Year 1, Battle Planet. Actually, it's Resurgence, as you can see down there, the BR. So this is the mold. This is how he compares with Year 1 and Year 2 Pegatrix Ultra. Which one do you like more? Let me know. But the card by itself is a little bit better than Year 2's Pegatrix. He's getting up to 950, where the previous one was only getting up to 900. He comes with a magic shield, so that's nice. He has 5 damage, that's better. But let's look at his Evos. Hyper Pegatrix goes up to 500B and 7 damage, so 2 energy for 200B and 2 damage. It's good for a gear. For an Evo, it's meh. But if it has 2 or more cores attached to it, to this Bakugan, you get 500 more. So with that bonus, what I put down here, you could pay 2 energy for 700B and 2 damage. And 2 energy for 700 is really strong. It's really great value. So this would be a fun play. This was like a Year 1, middle of Year 1 play right here. Could be really strong. Then we have Diamond Pegatrix Ultra. You go from 300B to 1000B for 5 energy, so that's 5 energy for 800B and 5 damage. And if it has 2 Bakugors attached to it, 2 or more, you get another 1000B, so his value becomes incredible. It's either 5 for 700B and 5 damage or 5 for 1700B, plus whatever core you had on it, right? So this would be a monster Evo, could get you up really high against all the Year 1 Pegatrix or Year 1 Bakugan. And would be fun to play. For 5 energy, it's not too cost prohibitive. You could get him in there. So Evos are fun. Third weakest Pegatrix, though, from the core. The next one I have here is Pegatrix from Armored Elite, Armored Alliance, so Year 2. Comes with a magic shield and a fire fist, so he's getting up to 1050 and 5. Or he can get his fire fist and be up to 11 damage. So for Year 2, this was pretty strong for damage wins. And B power, it was kind of up there. You needed to get to 1250, I think, but it was a pretty cool trade-off there. Hyper Pegatrix Evo. Let's grab the card again. So you can get up to 700 from 400 for 2 energy. So 2 for 300 isn't terrible. 2 damage. It's not terrible, but it's not really strong. And the fact that you have to pay 3 energy to draw a card, if you're gonna do this in power move down here, that's really expensive to draw a card. 3 energy to draw. HAOS does not have the card draw power that Aquos does, and so paying 3 for drawing 1 is not a valuable trade at all. You might as well just have an Aquos Bakugan on your team and use those action cards to draw, rather than paying so much energy to draw a card here. And then the next Evo we have for this Pegatrix was Diamond Pegatrix. 400 to 700 B for 5 energy is not a good trade at all, but you're getting 7 damage. So this is a damage play right here if you wanted to get this Diamond Evo up to 1350 B and 12 damage. Could be strong, could hurt your opponent, but paying 5 energy to just get to 1250 or 1350, year 2, you're still gonna lose the B power battle. So cool Evo, the thought is cool, but you're just hoping that your opponent misses a roll at that point. So there we go, 4th, that was the 5th weakest. Now we go to the top 5, maybe. I have this fusion here, Pegatrix and Goreen Ultra. He was Shield of Estroya, so this was the third period of year 2. Fire Fist and a Green Fist, 3 damage, 700 B, and he fuses for 4 energy. So flipping him over for 4, he gets up to 905. And if he's the victor in a battle, you get to attach a Bakugan from the field to him. The cord that he comes with is not strong for B power, and his damage isn't super strong either, even after fusing him. So if you could share a magic shield, if you didn't have a fusion magic shield, you could share a regular magic shield and be up to 1550 and 5, which is strong, but it costs you 4 energy to get there, and that's not valuable. It's not a good value trade. If you had a fusion magic shield waiting, you'd be up to 1700, but even though that'd be a couple hundred more than your year 2 Bakugan opponents, you're still paying 4 energy to get there, and it's still not a very valuable trade. So he's stronger than the base character cards of the other Pegatrix we've seen, but I don't think he's still not really that competitive. And then we have his Diamond Evo here, which is really cool. 6 energy is bringing him from 900 to 1200, so it's only 300 more B, but you get a bonus of 700 on a Fire Fist, so that's actually like 1000 B for 6 energy, which is a really good trade thinking about Evos and Gears. So if you had this core, you'd be at 1450 plus 700 is 2150 and 13 damage. Now that sounds really strong, 2150 and 13, but other evolutions for Bakugan could pay 6 energy and get up to 25, 26, 2700 for year 2 Bakugan. And you're not only paying 6, but you're paying, where'd it go? You're paying the 4 and then 6. So it's like you had to use 10 energy to get to a B power level that some Bakugan could get to only using 6. It's not a very valuable trade. That's how fusions generally work. But it's fun to do that many Evos. So 5 out of the top 5, number 5 spot could be Pegatrix and Goreen Ultra. We'll move him over. Next, it is Pegatrix from Bakugan Evolutions, the first iteration of Bakugan Evolutions. He has a Helix and a Fire Fist, 900B, 1 damage. This is the same mold as the year 2 Pegatrix, just a different paint job. So comparing the two, here's how they're different. But the card is much, much stronger because when you land on this Fire Fist, you can take your opponent's core and put it onto the matrix yourself. So you could go for B power and be 1150 and 4, and your opponent doesn't have a core, and if they're at 1000, which is the highest Bakugan can get to on the character card, you would still be 150 B up. So that's pretty cool. It's strong. He's a very strong Pegatrix Bakugan. If you wanted to do damage stuff, you'd be at 7 damage and your opponent wouldn't have a core. If you wanted to just go Helix B power, you could be at 1500 and 0. Here you go. Number 4 on the Pegatrix list is Bakugan Evolutions, regular Pegatrix. Then we have an early Bakugan Evolutions Pegatrix that came out before the others into Five Below stores. It was Mythic Pegatrix. He has 2 magic shields, which is really, really cool. 500B, 5 damage. He has a built-in reroll, so you can try to miss on the first turn when other Mythic or core controlling Bakugan are being played against you. If you miss and they land on a core, they can't have their effect go off and take your core, and then you can reroll, land on your core, and your effect affects their Bakugan and you take their core. Craziness, but he can get up to 11, 50, and 5 on this magic shield and then take your opponent's core. And they wouldn't have a core. The highest they'd be is 1,000. You'd be 150 up, just like the last Pegatrix we looked at. So this is another really, really strong Pegatrix. Number 3, potentially. Top 2, this is interesting because it's the same card. Well, I'll get the Bakugan first. It's the Neo Pegatrix and Platinum Neo Pegatrix from Bakugan Evolutions that are in stores right now. You can go get both of these. They're not, you know, especially rare at all. They're both out there. Their character cards are different art, have different art, but they're the same exact stats. They have a little bit of different core lineup here. Neo Pegatrix has 2 helixes. Platinum Neo Pegatrix has a Fire Fist and a helix. They have 200B 5 damage. When you land on a helix, you are taking your opponent's core and putting it onto either one of these Pegatrix. So you could be at 802 damage and you take your opponent's core. If their opponent's core was a magic shield, that's 800 plus 650 is 1450 and 2. But your opponent has no core, so you're 450 B up at least, if not more. 550, 650, 750, that could be possible. Your opponent has to use a lot of action cards to catch up to you to what you could do for free. So this is, in my opinion, so far the strongest Pegatrix that we have out there in the HAOS faction. And the cool thing is you could do mono HAOS, or you could just do 2 HAOS and then 1 other faction, maybe like a Pyrus to get some of those bonuses that they have there with those dual faction cards. But you could play 2 copies of essentially the same card, which is just hurting your opponent so much. You are taking their core every single time you're opening this Bakugan. They're not going to have any more cores by the end of it unless they're heavily into a core manipulation strategy as well. This is so strong. These 2 paired up on the same team would be awesome. I would for sure do it. If I was doing HAOS, I would pair it up with Pyrus and use some of those strong action cards like Pyro Obliterator and whatever else is going to come with it. And quick look at the Diamond Platinum Neo Pegatrix Evo that's coming in the Diamond toy package if you can find it in stores. It's really cool. For 5 energy, you're getting another 800 B and 2 damage, so 5 energy, 802. The B power is a great value trade. It's low enough that you can play it in the game at 5 energy, and it's keeping the core bonus of stealing a core on a helix. So totally valuable, playable, strong. If you can get 3 packs of this and trade with your friends and get a play set, it'd be worth it for the Bakugan Pro trading card games. I like it. That's it. This is like the epitome of strongest HAOS Bakugan that we have so far. If you're not also talking about some of the really cool Evos that we have out there, the most cool and most famous Maximus Pegatrix Ultra. So let me know what you all think about this. Which Pegatrix do you like? Which ones are you rolling with? Whether it's the card strength, or just the look and the design. Which one is your favorite? Which one do you like the most? The year 1, or the year 2, the year 3, and then the rearing Pegatrix year 4? What's working for you? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching. More like this coming soon.